Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie, and on my Ghost Update vlog, I'm going to be trying to keep it brief about teachers and students for shamanism. And I mean, this could go for like anybody, really. If you're ever like trying to go on a spiritual journey and you find that you need to find a teacher, this is going to be my last video about this because I've mentioned it a lot in previous videos, but I get a lot of people writing to me about their teachers. So let's go into this. And it's kind of funny because I actually don't have any shamans who have reached out to me about their students. And I'm going to tell you why. So, brief synopsis of my other videos about teachers and students. Teachers don't need you. They don't. They do not need you. You need your teacher. So, in a teacher and a student relationship, it is a give and take. Some teachers will purposely take on a lot of students because they gain themselves enlightenment for helping all these people. So they some of them will gain extra abilities, some of them will gain more power, some of them will get raised in their levels, okay? So yeah, there's going to be perks to being a teacher. Now, for the students though, okay, no teacher ever wants to raise a failing student. They may see that you struggle a lot more than their other students. You may never become the favorite student. But no teacher goes into a relationship, yeah, I'm going to make sure they fail. At least I don't know of any teachers who approach it that way. So this is not speaking for everybody and every situation, just in case, there are some people who don't care. So, key points here, you guys. For myself, as a general rule, whenever I have students, I always keep this rule. If after I have raised a student on their first level, which basically means the first playful, it's a kid level, okay? If within 3 to 6 months you do not progress, I will drop you. I will just drop you like it's hot, okay? Because to me, that signifies there's something wrong. I am not your teacher. Go find somebody else. Now, some teachers, I will tell you guys this. Some teachers are coerced. Meaning they're forced into being your teacher. So I've had situations where, let's say that this individual has a teacher. And that teacher, though, had children. And then, you became a full-fledged shaman. But then your teacher comes to you and says, I need you to raise my children. So now you're kind of in this forced situation where even though in your heart you feel like you're not their teacher, or you feel like this is not the teacher-student relationship you wanted, because your teacher who raised you will control you in how you raise their children. So, there are those kind of icky situations that nobody likes to be in. So those are more of like political kind of situations. And I also understand that for students who are still fledgling shamans, they're not full shamans yet, if you're younger, or if you're somebody who lives with your parents or your in-laws, you will be controlled by them. So when I raised my final level, I was already living on my own. I already had my own house. I didn't have my mom and dad like, rawr, this is how you should do it, and this is how I grew up, and this is how it should be done, okay? I didn't have that. So, and I went into it like, in my family, we didn't know anything about shamanism beyond myths and rumors. I grew up Lutheran. We didn't do this kind of stuff. So it was a huge learning curve for me. But I will say that I didn't have that, this, we're going to force you with this teacher. It was a genuine connection for me. And I think I am thankful that my teacher was as good as she was. Okay. So my teacher, she is very well known. Especially in the Twin Cities. She has students across the country. Now, I don't give out her information because it's not like a referral kind of a thing for me. These are my experiences and my stories, okay? I don't tell you guys names of anybody at all. Now, of course, a lot of y'all know me in real life, so you guys already know who I'm talking about. But anyways, Um, so she has a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and she has a lot of students. Now, I will say that teachers who have a lot of students, they all compete, okay? Like, I'm just gonna let y'all know. Like, the downside to being a teacher and you have a lot of students, they always are curious about the other student. So it's fine. For me, I discover that it's fine when it's like a younger generation. It's younger people. We all got careers. We are all starting off with families. We all got other things to worry about. We are just focusing on our spiritual aspect as just one part of our busy life. But when you have older generation students who are the same level as you and you guys are all trying to start, especially, and this happened to me. So I would have people who were much older than me, they would start their shaman journey before me, right? And then I come into the picture and then bam, I'm done with my shrines. They can't even get to their second and third levels. There's going to be a lot of competition, especially if you as a student do not become your teacher's favorite. It's not good being your teacher's favorite either. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know. But when you, because it makes that individual, that student feel that they're not worthy, that they're not progressing, that what is the point if I can't be like everybody else, right? And that goes hand in hand with what kind of abilities you're going to have and what kind of shaman you're going to be. I have had people talk to me and they're like, I don't want to be a new age shaman. I don't want to be the old age shaman. Y'all ain't got a say in it, okay? Because if everybody had a say in what kind of abilities they were going to have and what kind of lineage they were going to follow, you think we would be having these kind of issues right now? No. With shaman, and I've heard other people through my comments who are not Hmong and they are familiar with other types of shamans around the world, there are a lot of different fractions, just like with Christianity. Okay, they're all Christians, but some of them might be Catholic, some of them might be Lutheran. So there are all different fractions and the end goal is the same. Heal, okay? That is the end goal. However, how you get that healing done, and just because some people have sprouted extra abilities, there's like so many issues, you guys. It's ridiculous. Like, and that all goes hand in hand with people who like to watch other shamans because they get curious when they hear shamans have different abilities, when they practice differently. What does it matter if it's the same end goal? Now, shamans who tend to watch each other, though, that goes hand in hand with why I don't like to have students. So this is something that I discovered from watching other teachers and watching my own teacher with their students and the issues that happened. Like I could write a whole book on all the drama that happens with students and teachers, but we're going to move on. And I'm just going to say this. The reason why I try to avoid having students is because it would hurt my soul if I taught and raised them to be this amazing shaman and they turn out to be evil. No matter what your intent is, no matter what your teachings are, it is still on that individual. It is very easy to go down the dark road. It is so easy. Why do you think there's so many of them? It is so easy to go down the dark road. Like if somebody pisses you off, you could just easily send a demon their way. Hello. Like seriously, it is that easy. Okay. Let me take that back. It is that easy to people who have that ability. Okay, like to feng, which is curse. If you want to curse individuals, if you want to open a few doors to let demons through, like to wherever you want in the world, you can. Okay, so if you know how to do it. So my hardships with accepting students is I'm always judging and I am always trying to see as far as I can with individuals because I don't want to raise the spawn of the devil. Like you don't want to be that person who, like, you just don't. And the thing is, yeah, I get it. You can't control people, okay? Like, you can't. As a teacher, you are meant to just raise them to be successful and on their own, and then you cut off ties and you're done. Now, when I say cut off ties, okay, like it's more so if you guys are strangers and you don't really know each other and you guys live across state lines. But if you're all part of the same family, you will never really cut off all ties, but they will no longer be responsible for you, the teacher. And when I say that, it's because when you have a teacher, any whimsical question you might have, any illness you might have, anything, like anything, if you just kind of feel like you don't feel good, like your teacher has to help you. Point blank, they have to help you, because that is what a teacher is. A teacher is basically like another parent. They are adopting you and they have to take care of you. So if your teacher does not do that for you, you may want to consider a different teacher. So another pointer I want to say is that when you are a student, you need to reach to your teacher. Your teacher does not bend down to you. So if you find that you're struggling communicating with your teacher, it is not your teacher's fault. It is your fault. My teacher can't even speak English, you guys. Okay, she is an OG shaman, okay? She's a grandma to a lot of you guys. I have to reach to her because she was my teacher. She's not going to bend down and learn English for me, okay? Like, that's not going to happen. Now, I understand Hmong perfectly fine, and I can speak Hmong. It's a little broken where I mix up the words on where to place them, but you can understand everything I said. And granted, sometimes the pronunciation isn't on point, but it's almost like somebody with an accent speaking Hmong. That's right. I got an accent when I speak Hmong. But like my teacher and I am very blessed and lucky in life. I'm very, very fortunate. I am really aware of that. My teacher, so like the last time I saw her, which was just a couple months ago, I saw my teacher. Was it in January? Anyways, so I saw my teacher and she said in English to me, "I love you." And I was like, and like, I'm friends with all of her kids. It was freaking hilarious because her kids were there. And I was like, I rub it in too. I totally rub it in to her kids. And I know some of her kids and family, they watch my series here too. So it's just so funny whenever their mom or dad is like praising me or like saying that they love me. I'm always telling them like, I know that you guys wish I was the daughter you wanted, like I'll rub it in. And they just know that's how I am. Like, I'm totally going to rub it in. Like, when their parents tell me that they love me and they invite me to, like, all their events, that's right. So, I had a great relationship with my teacher. Now, I did witness all of the things that she went through, though, with a lot of her other students. And I know these students personally as well as other shamans, too. But I'm not going to talk much on that. But I will say that one of my best friends, who's a shaman, she always said something to me. And it didn't always make sense. It was just kind of weird. I thought she was just weird. And I thought sometimes she just says these things. But she always says to me, "我学的." And that basically just means don't have a weird or far heart, if you kind of translate to English. And basically, to me now, when I look back on it, a lot of it is, don't misplace your heart in, not being trusting and not being too open, because some people, they do have harder time trusting people. Some people are very suspicious of certain people's motives. Some people are very suspicious of how people say things, like I'm not that deep of a person, okay? Like I'm a really straightforward person. Even if I'm mad at you, I'm a very straightforward person. I would much rather always say it directly to your face. Like, if you the thing is, not everybody's like me, so sometimes I go to the extreme. I will call you out on social media, and if you don't respond, I will make a threat at the same time until you call me directly, because if you won't respond to me, you bet I will come to you. So anyways, I'm like that towards my teacher. I'm very, very direct to my teacher. So some people get kind of nervous around elders, especially when they are such a well-respected shaman in the community. Everybody knows them. They're so gifted. They don't want to seem like they're stupid, right? Not me. Okay, if I don't understand something, I'm going to tell you I don't understand it. I need you to repeat it. I still don't understand it. Explain it to me again. That is just the kind of person I am, but other people, they'll just nod and pretend it's okay, and they get it because they think it's rude, or they don't want to say anything. It's more rude to assume things, to misconstrue the information. So I am very, very direct with my teacher, and I honestly think she definitely appreciates that. It's like a breath of fresh air because I don't have a secret motive underneath it all. I'm just like, huh? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, what are you saying to me? So it's just, I'm very, very direct. And that's how I've always been. And so, 教我些答 when it comes to your teacher, if you are a student. So you need to get to your teacher's level. You need to reach to them because they don't need to bend down to you. Most of them will never bend down to you. They will just keep going and you have to chase and follow them. Now, teachers hate students who don't listen to their teacher. Okay, because I know a lot of students who will go to their teacher for all these things and they don't trust their teacher. So they will go to another shaman and ask them all this stuff too, right? And the thing is, when that student does that, it actually shows that they don't respect their teacher. So if you don't respect your teacher enough that they are giving you accurate information, if you feel like you don't trust your teacher, drop that teacher because you will never replace that relationship. And you need to have a good relationship with your teacher. Even if there is a huge age gap, you need to develop that relationship because in a sense, they are now your parents, but it's your spiritual parents and they are supposed to help you get there. So this goes hand in hand again with, I know that some people, like especially if you're younger or you live with your parents and you're more controlled by your clan on what the expectations are for you and what kind of type of shaman they want you to be. So that's a huge issue too. A lot of people don't talk about that. But a lot of shamans go through pressure, peer pressure, because how I mentioned that shamans, they actually don't get to choose what kind of shaman they're going to be, what lineage they're actually going to have, okay? They don't get to choose that. Now, what happens, though, is if you are raised predominantly in an old school type of shaman family, that is the only shamanism you guys have ever done. And that's the only one you believe in, right? But what happens when, ta-da, you come in and you're actually a New Age shaman? So what's going to happen is those shamans will never be able to fully raise you. And you will know it. You will feel it. They will know it. They will feel it. So a lot of people end up with that pressure where they are very not accepting of a different way. And a lot of people sometimes when they think of shamanism, they think of just the prejudice between those who go to church and those who don't go to church and they follow the old ways, okay? This is, that kind of prejudice also exists internally, again, if you break it down further in the shaman community. What type of shaman are you? And that's a huge topic, okay? Even though the end goal is the same, which is to heal, it is still not accepted, So every family and every branch is very, very different. And I just know that these issues exist because I know people who all go through these scenarios. These are all real scenarios, you guys. And same thing. Typically what happens though, if you are an old age or old school type of shaman and you're actually born in around new age shamans, okay? Typically what happens with that, all they do is they crave and they want to be a new age shaman. But they will never get those abilities because, again, you don't get to choose what abilities you get, okay? It's not like, oh, let's do a lottery. It's not like that. So there's a lot of issues that all come in with teachers and students, and it is not easy finding a teacher. It is not easy trusting and paying all this money for a teacher, okay? So that is why I don't go further in the process of raising someone's shrine if I see that they're struggling. And the biggest sign, like what do I consider a struggling sign after the 3 months, okay? After the 3 months mark, if you cannot hungo, and that's basically the chants. So the shamans who do the chants and stuff like that, for my lineage in particular, I'm not talking about lineages that record, because there are lineages who record and they practice the verses. And then when they become more excelled and they understand the theory behind the verses, they will cater it and add their own twist to it, okay? Now, for my lineage, though, we do not do any type of recording. So I could have a student in California and they will never know how I do it because they can't record it. So what ends up happening is that we honestly believe and we put all of our faith into the spirits. The spirits must teach you your own verses. And if you can't do that, I'm going to drop you, because you're not progressing. I'm not going to have a failing student with me. So I'm going to drop you. And you are then free to go and seek out any teacher you want. And by the by, you need to officially drop your teacher or your student before either party can move on. I've gotten a lot of messages from people who haven't talked to their teachers in years. It's kind of crazy how many people were. And it's funny because I mentioned everybody kind of like says the same thing or the same requests around the same time. I had a lot of people who were all messaging me. They don't talk to their teacher. They haven't seen them, to the point where it's embarrassing now to even show up. Like, oh, do you remember me? I was your student. We never finished. Like, do not do that, you guys. Don't even go a month without being in contact with your teacher. That is not okay. Okay, unless your teacher and you have an agreement in 3 months from now, they're going to come and raise your shrine. You've already set the date. You already got things planned. Then, yeah, you don't have to keep in touch as much. But your teacher needs to actually connect with you about a month before that final date to make sure you have everything in case you need help or you have questions. So keep that in mind. So, yeah, don't go a long time without talking to your teacher. That's just weird. Like, I could not imagine having a student who just disappeared on me, who just ghosted. Like, that would just be weird. Like, I would cut it off with you. If I noticed that you weren't coming around or you weren't talking to me, I would just cut you off, because I don't want that kind of a student. That's just a headache, yo. You don't really know what your student's doing then, so you can't really trust that they're really on the right path. And if they are seeking out other people's advice, let them go. Just let them go. Now, for myself, I actually set a lot of rules for my students, because if you break a single one of them, I will drop you. So I'm very strict. Actually, when it comes to Ning, I'm very, very strict. My personality and my demeanor, I am very playful and everything like that, but I'm very strict when it comes to shaman stuff, because it's cutthroat. So, because why would I raise a failing student? Like, I don't want you. So if you cannot achieve certain things, it's over. If you like, I don't know what's so hard about this, okay? Now, I also understand the whole being controlled thing, okay? Now, if I was in that situation, I would be upfront with both parties, and I would also just end it, because it's better than having that shiadu, like where it's kind of like I was gonna say in Hmong, it's kind of like when you are like when you're not honest with your opinions and you become really passive aggressive, but you still have that aggression, but it's actually trying to be hidden. So I'm very upfront with people, because then it creates like miscommunication and a lot of issues down the line. So it's better to just be upfront. So for me, whenever I get a student, I always tell them, the first thing I tell them, what I'm about to tell you, I will never repeat it to you unless you ask. However, once I have given you this information, you already know it. So down the line, you cannot pretend you did not know. And I don't care if you genuinely forgot it. I've already told you once. You should have never forgotten it. That was your own fault. So I can drop you for any one of these reasons. And you must agree to all of my reasons before I will be your teacher. Now, I am a really upbeat kind of person, though. So when I actually am really serious, though, people tend to get scared. So I'm just going to let y'all know I'm actually a really, really strict teacher. And as soon as you break one of my rules, even if you don't tell me and I find out because my guides told me, I will cut you off. My number one rule, why I will always drop a student randomly even, if you're a person who likes to curse people, okay? So people who like to curse individuals because they feel wronged, I will drop you. I'll drop you like it's hot. You know why? Because what if you go and you curse somebody who's actually stronger and better than you? You know who's going to have to deal with it? Like, it shouldn't even be my problem. Okay. So the first sign that you like to curse people, especially when you shouldn't be doing that, I will cut you off. Cut you off. Because that is the first sign to you turning evil. Like, I already said it. I don't want no evil students. Okay. So the minute I do sense that a student is going down the wrong path, I will cut them off. Students who are too focused on special abilities, students who are too focused on money, students who are too focused on learning how to watch other shamans, I will cut you off, because if that is a natural gift you have, that will be a natural gift you have. Don't ever come asking me how to get that gift. I will cut you off. Now, a lot of other people are not as strict as I am because, and the thing is, I've seen my teacher go through hell and back with having so many students. And it's really put me off where I'm like, I'm good. I'm going to make sure it's someone else's problem because, you know, I will scrutinize any potential student. I will look deep into their soul. I will look at all their papers. I will look at their past lifetimes. Okay, I ain't messing around. I'm not messing around because I don't want to be that teacher where everybody's like, oh, that crazy shaman, that was their teacher. Like, I don't want that. You know, like, I'm good. So, as a recap, teachers do not need you. They can drop you at any point in time. If you lose connection with your teacher, it is your fault. You have to go back to your teacher and face the embarrassment and actually tell them point blank to them, we're going to end this relationship, or I'm going to go and seek out a different shaman. Or your teacher may have already cut you off and they'll be like, what are you doing here? We've already cut off. They have every right because you can't say anything to them. So that goes hand in hand with people who don't like how their teacher does things. They don't like how their shrine looks. They don't like this and that. When you're done being a shaman with that teacher, you have, okay, there are a lot of shamans who actually do this. They will raise their shrine completely. And then once they're done with that teacher, they will go and find another teacher and then start all over from the end and then raise themselves again. However, when you start over, you don't start at the very bottom again because you already have all this knowledge and all that stuff. You will actually just kind of stop here and then just raise it back up. So it's kind of like an RPG game. You just keep powering and leveling up. So I know a lot of people who have a lot of money and they just go around getting a lot of teachers. And that's perfectly fine if that's your thing that you want to do in your life, because man, it takes up a lot of time. Go and do it, you know, because if that's what you're passionate about and that's what's really important to you, you guys can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Other things to add to that, if you aren't happy with certain things about your teacher currently, but you know, things are going well, you're progressing, you know what you're doing, you know, it's nothing like that. You just don't like certain things like aesthetically and stuff like that. Once you're done with your teacher and you raise your final level, you can go and get rainbow colors if you want, okay? Nobody's going to stop you anymore. So also keep that in mind. Just usama, you know, like just hold it in until finally you can go and do your own thing, because once you're in your final level, it doesn't matter anymore what your teacher did before. So you can do whatever you want. It's, you know, whatever rumors and people talk about you, that's your own issue, but again, that goes hand in hand with you can do whatever you want now. So that is the gist on teachers and students. I probably won't be doing another video on teachers and students, only because I feel like everybody always asks me these kind of questions and it just keeps going on. And I have other videos that I discuss some of these things too. So definitely this is kind of it. I won't be answering questions about teachers and students. If you even doubt that you have the right teacher, go find a different one. Just do it. Trust me. Nobody is going to care if you don't have a teacher who's supposed to be for you. Nobody is going to care. Okay, except for maybe if you're married, they might care. Your own parents might care, but it's like in general though, other shamans, they don't care. Because it's kind of like, it's common sense. It's common sense, you guys. Why would you go to work, but you go to the wrong building? Like, you don't even go to the same company that you actually work for. That is exactly it, you guys. So you have to think about things realistically. Don't think about the relationship aspect, because if both parties are actually wanting what's best for each other, they will agree to it. Now, some teachers won't, there's that. So, because some teachers don't like the thought that their students are going to other teachers, that they weren't good enough to raise a student. Okay, that's not the whole point of it. Some people just don't mix. They just don't align. And that's perfectly okay. People need to be okay with that. So I don't know any younger shaman teachers who ever face that issue. But I feel like a lot of younger generation people, we don't really care, because being a shaman and oning and all that stuff and focusing on your spiritual journey and stuff, that is just a small portion of our whole life, you guys. So it's like we have other aspirations, we have other dreams, we have other things that we're passionate about. Like I focus heavily on my career. I focus heavily on other things that are important to me. So it's, some people who that is all that they have, that may be very, very important to them. And that's perfectly fine. It's just whatever is more important to people. Everybody will do things based off of it if it suits them. Nobody is going to go to church if they genuinely weren't into it. They might go to church if they're being threatened by their family, or their husband or wives. Okay, I get it. You probably will go to church then. But some people genuinely are like, no, that's not something that's important to me. I am not going to do it. And then they will go and spend their time doing something else that's more important. So it's the exact same thing. It is strictly just what is most important to you. If you feel like you've had this teacher for years, you're not progressing, your teacher doesn't care that you're not progressing, cut them off. Cut them off. I'm done. So that is it for this video. Next week, we're going to talk about soulmates. I don't know why everybody's asking me about soulmates. There's not a whole lot I'm going to say about that next week, but we'll get into it next week. Until next time.